Blockchain is a technology which is real, deployed in many places. We deploy it with Inc., with Onyx, which some of you were part of, and Link, which some of you are part of, and the JPMorgan coin, which is a stable coin backed by a US dollar deposit at JPMorgan. And there are a lot of these technologies going to work. They're going to replace ledgers. They're going to make things cheaper. I think banks will be big users of that. And yes, it may disintermediate certain part of banking. So be it. That we have that problem, like with technology, for the last 50 years. And so my issue has always been with what you guys call a cryptocurrency, which I call a crypto token that doesn't do anything.
JPMorgan CEO Jamie Dimon last week doubling down on his disdain for crypto tokens, but backing blockchain technology. Earlier, Michael Anderson, co-founder of the crypto venture capital firm Framework Ventures, reacted to what Dimon has had to say on Bloomberg Crypto. Take a listen.
I think, the part about blockchain being real, he's completely right. There are a number of different application categories that are built on blockchain today. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin just happens to be one of them. NFTs happen to be another. We're starting to see the rapid innovation of what these concepts can bring about, not just from a cost savings perspective for existing businesses, but new types of economic transactions that can exist in a new ecosystem that can connect into the financial ecosystem. And you touched on it in the previous segment, but gaming happens to be one of those segments of the market that's just completely new, and a new business model for gaming will bring about a huge amount of economic activity.
He makes an interesting point about the coins, Michael, and I've always wondered myself. I mean, even if you see the beauty in the blockchain, aside from, faith from the group, what's the reason that these tokens should be worth a lot of money, considering the fact that you don't really need even a full token to get on the blockchain, and they're infinitely divisible?
Yeah, well, I think one of the hardest things that we did for ourselves as an industry is called this industry the cryptocurrency industry. What it should have been, maybe crypto commodities would have been a better moniker for some of these assets, but really it's just a new technology platform. There are reasons why tokens need to exist in these ecosystems to secure networks. One of the ways that the proof of stake ecosystem for Ethereum works is you're taking Ethereum tokens and putting them up as economic security to validate transactions and provide security in that network. There is a core reason for that. And Ethereum in particular has a number of the amount of transaction revenue that's going through it every single day is tantamount to something that's a massively scalable and profitable company if it were to be traded on the NASDAQ like a Salesforce or a Workday. So if we look at them from that perspective, there are assets in this ecosystem that are fundamentally valuable.
Or tell us about some of the businesses you're invested in that are doing actual work with the blockchain that has nothing to do with the value of the token. For example, smart contracts or recording events. I mean, what can the blockchain do that you're actually seeing work in your companies?
Yeah, well, one of the companies that we just announced a large Series A fundraise for was Stardust. Hannah Miller, hats off to her, broke that story earlier today. They just raised a new round of funding, which we continued on with our existing investment. What they do is they provide an ecosystem for traditional game developers to develop their games and integrate blockchain just with the ease of integration of an API and some tooling and some infrastructure. We liken it to being sort of the Coinbase for Web3 gaming, where it'll just be the on-ramps for hundreds of developers who are building in this ecosystem who want to integrate NFTs. And frankly, the integration of NFTs just represents a new business model for game developers. It's not, a speculative fervor as we've seen with NFT gaming so far. The tens of developers that are building on top of it are actually, building and succeeding today. And we're just going to continue to see that trend continue.